welcome. Here is the midday news. First, the top stories. 11 cultist suspects, including 3 girls, arrested in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. Buhari worried over delay in passage of the anti-graft bill before National Assembly. Peace Corps bill suffers setback at the Senate. 2014 National Conference delegates insist on report implementation. In foreign, top Indian judges accuse each other of insanity, and UK rejects €100 billion Brexit bill from EU. Good afternoon, I am Chienye Egwuonwu, bringing you the details of the news shortly. All the news in detail. 11 suspected cultists, including 3 girls, have been rounded up by police in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. The suspects are named by the police as Miss Adeshino Aminat, Miss Deun Demuyiwa, and Miss Kaide Adunoye, all aged 18 years, as well as Abayomi, Alaba Ayuade, and Olamide Rashid. Others are Teniola Imoleayo, Hakim Ayola, Olaoye Bolahon, Adebayo Julius, and Taiwo Sodiq. Spokesman of the State Police Command, Abimbola Oyeyemi, says the suspects belong to a cultist gang that has been terrorizing Ijeja area of the city. The suspects, according to him, were arrested last Sunday at their hideout as they were preparing for a fresh attack. The police image maker lists items captured from the suspects at their hideout as including 1 UTC axe, 1 UTC cutlass, blue beret, various charms, and other dangerous arms. The majority leader of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Adeyinka Mathe, intends to propose a bill seeking the remaining of the Gateway International Stadium, Shagam, after the reigning Nigerian-born British World Heavyweight Boxing Champion, Anthony Joshua. Mathe, who made this known during the House plenary in Abeokuta, says Joshua, whose father built the first cinema house in Shagam and the state, deserves to be honored for winning additional World Boxing Organization and the International Boxing Organization titles to his International Boxing Federation belt. Joshua knocked out Vladimir Klitschko in round 11 at the last Sunday night WBO and IBF unification bout at Wembley in London. The majority leader also asked the Ogun State government to honor the boxer as indigene of the state by naming a street in Shagam after him for bringing glory to the state. A branch of the Senior Staff Union of the Colleges of Education in Nigeria at the Federal College of Education, Oshele, Abeokuta, will celebrate its 2017 week on Thursday. The union will also launch its $20 million building project during the period at the college's campus. The launch of the $20 million multi-purpose hall and secretariat building project will hold at Kunle Filani Academic Theatre by 10 a.m. Guest lecturer is Dr. Abayomi Jiboku, who will deliver a lecture on the expectations and responsibilities of labor in this dispensation, the tertiary institution perspective. Also, Governor Siriaki Dixon of Bayelsa State, according to the program, will preside over the investiture of a member of the House of Representatives, Oladipupo Adebutu Kessington, as the union's patron. The chief host is the college provost, Dr. A. Ajayi, while the host is the union chairman, Mr. Emmanuel Dunyi. President Muhammadu Buhari says he is worried over the delay in the passage of the anti-graft law known as Proceeds of Crime Act by the National Assembly. Attorney General of the Federation, Alhaji Abubakar Malami, made this known to the State House correspondents after a closed-door meeting with President Buhari in the presidential villa, Abuja. According to him, the president noted that there has not been any expeditious determination on the passage of the anti-graft bill by the National Assembly. The president, according to him, is also worried that the assets which has been gathered over time by the agencies of government and is also responsible for the fight against corruption is scattered all over the place. Embedded in the Proceeds of Crime bill is the Asset Management Agency, which is the agency put in place by the presidency for the purpose of the management of the associated assets that are recovered. The Senate has begun the process of considering the nomination of 27 resident electoral officers for the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). The names of the nominees, including Mutiu Agboke of Ogun State, were sent by President Buhari to the Senate last March for consideration. But the senators stepped down their consideration of the nominees in protest against the refusal of the presidency to replace the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Mangu, whose appointment they had rejected. But on Tuesday, the Senate President Bukola Saraki reopened the issue when he referred Buhari's letter on the 27 nominees to the Senate Committee on INEC for legislative action. The committee was directed to report back to the plenary in 2 weeks. First Lady Aisha Buhari has assured that there is no cause for alarm over the health of President Muhammadu Buhari. Aisha says the sickness is not as serious as it's been speculated. She reacted on her Twitter handle as concern grows over the failure of Buhari to appear in public in the past 2 weeks, leading to the growing agitation that he should proceed on another medical vacation. The First Lady thanked Nigerians for their concern, love and prayers for her husband's health status, but assures that Buhari can still carry out his statutory responsibilities. Aisha says to vindicate her, Buhari resumed duty in his office on Tuesday and met with the Group Managing Director of NNPC, Maikanti Baru, and the Justice Minister, Abubakar Malami. House of Representatives has passed a resolution calling for the immediate review of the national minimum wage to reflect the economic hardships faced by the workers. The resolution was passed after an intensive debate on the motion raised by Egwuonwu Onyebuchi. During the debate, members of the House appreciated the resilience and commitment of the Nigerian workers despite the severe economic challenges confronting them. The House mandated its Labour, Employment and Productivity Committee to liaise with the relevant stakeholders to actualize the resolution and report back in 4 weeks. The Senate has suspended its passage of a bill seeking the establishment of the Nigerian Peace Corps after a heated debate. The bill was stepped down following the presentation of the conference report of the Senate and the House of Representatives after both had separately passed the bill. Following a heated debate in the Senate, the conference report was not adopted by the Senate. The Senate President, Bukola Saraki, ordered that the conference report be referred to the Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to address the issues raised and liaise with the House of Representatives. The leadership of the Corps is already facing trial in an Abuja High Court for allegedly operating illegal paramilitary outfit. You are still listening to the Midday News on Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, we bring you foreign, business and sports news. Please stay with us. Now in foreign, the Indian judiciary is in the midst of an unprecedented crisis which has resulted in rival judges issuing court orders for each other to undergo mental health evaluations. For the past several months now, Justice Chineswamy Kannan of the Calcutta High Court has been on a massive collision course with the top judges of India's Supreme Court. On Monday, matters came to a head when a 7-judge Supreme Court bench that included India's Chief Justice Kehar ordered a psychiatric evaluation of Justice Kannan by a panel of government doctors to ascertain if he was mentally ill. An angry Justice Kannan responded by ordering similar tests on the 7 top court judges. The present standoff began on 23rd January when Justice Kannan wrote a letter to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi with the names of 20 corrupt judges and 3 senior law officials. On 8th February, the 7-judge bench decided that this and all the similar letters which Justice Kannan had sent in the past, accusing his fellow judges of corruption and bias, was contempt of court and demanded an explanation from him. The UK says it will not pay a €100 billion divorce bill to leave the EU. The Brexit Secretary David Davis insisted the UK would pay what was legally due and not just what the EU wants. It comes amid claims by the Financial Times that the financial settlement sought by the EU has risen from 60 billion euros. Mr. Davis said the UK treated its EU rights and obligations seriously, but it had not seen any number adding the EU was playing rough and tough. The EU has insisted that the UK will have to accept liabilities stemming from its membership, including contributions to the EU budget. Many conservative MPs argue the UK does not owe the EU anything, given the size of the contributions which it has made over the past 40 years. The EU's chief negotiator, Michel Barnier, is due to publish his guidelines for the talks later, although they are not likely to include any financial demands. Next is the business news. Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) says the first batch of its 3 power plants it is constructing will be operational in year 2019. The power plants to be fired by natural gas are located in Abuja, Kano, and Kaduna. NNPC Group Managing Director Maikanti Baru, who made this known in his presentation at the 2017 Offshore Technology Conference in Houston, USA, says the 3 proposed power plants will have a combined capacity to generate 3,000 megawatts. Baru, who was represented by the corporation's Chief Operating Officer in charge of gas and power, Seidu Mohammed, says NNPC also had interest in the power plant which is operated by Ajib in Okpai Delta State and the Afam power plant of Shell in Rivers State. Finally, in the midday news is the sports news. John Obi Mikel is set to return to training with his Chinese side in a week's time after the Nigerian underwent surgery last week. The player will return to training with his Chinese Super League side, Tianjin Teda, according to an official statement released by the club. The club says in mid-March this year, the team went to Shanghai training for preparation activities before Mikel got injured, and the club explains it decided to send Mikel to Britain for diagnosis and treatment. On the 26th, the club says the doctor diagnosed an inguinal hernia and abductor muscle injury, and 2 operations were successfully completed on the 29th of April. That was the midday news, and just before we go, the major stories once again. 11 cultist suspects, including 3 girls, were arrested in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. Buhari worried over delay in passage of the anti-graft bill before the National Assembly. Bill suffered setback at the Senate. And 2014 National Conference delegates insisted on report implementation. While on the foreign scene, we reported that top Indian judges accused each other of insanity, and UK rejected €100 billion Brexit bill from EU. For more stories and to listen to us live, please log on to our website www.boxcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you very much for listening. I am Chienye, Egwuonwu, and do have a great day ahead.